In this video, I'm going to be talking about sales metrics, revenue metrics, what they mean, how they correlate together. I think it's really important that sales reps, business owners, marketing people are all working off the same sheet of music, and every single sales rep and business owner should understand the interplay between all of these different numbers, and that's how you can learn to optimize your revenue, but also optimize your commissions, and overall, just be able to grow and grow and grow and not freak out when something happens, right? My name is Matt. I've run a lot of businesses. I used to have a multi-seven-figure per month agency that I built from scratch with no advertising. And then I also had a multi-seven-figure per month coaching company. I've also owned 18 gyms, and now I have a software company called Dollar.io, and we've gotten to like very good revenue very quickly with no ads. And a lot of it's because I have a really good understanding of what happens when you're spending money on ads, what happens when you're looking at content, and then how you can optimize those things to get better and better results. So what I've done is put together a step-by-step guide of marketing analytics and data points, and then some of the things that you can do in order to, one, benchmark yourself, but also two, just trying to figure some stuff out, and three, have a methodology behind what you're doing to make sure that like you're not doing silly things. The reason why I'm doing this video now is because it's coming up to July 4th. On July 4th, this is what's going to happen. Your close rates will drop, your show rates will drop, cost per lead will go up, and you will most likely try and change a whole bunch of things about your business, about your funnels, about your marketing and your sales for absolutely no reason. It's simply because like there are a lot of people advertising and there are a lot of people on holiday, and so they're not in a buying mood for things that you're maybe selling. They're in a buying mood for maybe other things like beer and fireworks. These are things that are always going to happen. So we can fight it as much as we can, or we can just optimize for it, and we can know when to take holidays and know when not to spend money on meta, in the same way where when election comes up, you probably want to kind of ramp down a little bit, because otherwise they's going to destroy you. All right. So without any further ado, I'm going to get into it. I will have a link to this document in the description down below. So let's get amongst it. All right. So I like to have a reductive form of kind of data and how you do things. Okay. What that means is that I'm looking for reasons to not make changes. I know that sounds weird, but it's like, if you're always looking for reasons to make changes, then like you're going to do things for no reason. Okay. I used to be a sniper, right? So when you're shooting, if a gust of wind comes out of nowhere and that brings you a foot to the left, you don't adjust anything, because you don't know if that gust is a gust or if it's sustained wind. You don't know that. You might be 1,000 yards away and you can't feel that. So what you have to do is you have to shoot a group. So you have to go bang, bang, 3, preferably 5 rounds. Then you would adjust onto the target. Right? Now, in a war situation, that's a little bit different, but generally speaking, that's the best way to get the most accurate results, is to shoot groups, then adjust off the group average, right? You take it, bang, 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 take it in the middle, adjust over and down. That's how you do that. And it's the same for anything when you're trying to find a pattern and then adjust off the pattern. If you're always adjusting off the individual shot, which I see people do at the range and I see people do in their business, they have one good month, they adjust everything. They have one bad month, they adjust everything. This is ridiculousness. Volatility, a lot of the time, is just because you don't have a lot of stuff going on, so it looks more volatile than what it actually is, right? If you have 5 sales and then you make 10, you doubled. However, really you just got 5 more. 5 of anything is not very much. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm looking for reasons to not make changes. So if we go, to the shooting analogy, it's like, if I make a change and then that was just a gust and that was a foot to the left, now the change is going to be a foot to the right. And then what I'm going to do is go, I need to go left. And then there's, now there's like no gust, and now I'm going to be left. Right. So like you're going to go bang, 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 and you're never going to get a bullseye. Okay. So that is kind of the methodology in which I like to do data, because if I can figure out a way why there might be an external factor that is like definitely going to affect it, like 4th of July, show rates are going to be terrible, just don't book calls. Okay, there is a statistical reason for that. 80% of people report that they take a vacation on the 4th of July. So here are some important marketing stats that you need to understand. The first is click-through rate. Okay, top of funnel things like pickup rate, click-through rate. These are really, really important things. It's literally the reason why I started Dollar.io. It's because I was sick of having low pickup rates. So I thought that if I put my enormous brain power into figuring this problem out, along with some people who are smarter than me, then I could figure out how to increase pickup rate, which in sales is the most top of funnel metric, because if you speak to double the people, you can make double the sales. It's the same with click-through rate in your advertising. Okay, so So it's how many people see your ad versus click on it, okay? That's it. It's a pretty simple metric. Around 1.5 to 2.5% is generally speaking a pretty good one. Okay, if you're below that, then there's a few things. One, headline is weak, maybe like the visual creative. So it's not stopping the scroll. So think of it as like driving down a highway and then like you're looking at all the billboards, you know what I mean? And there are some billboards that attract your attention. There are some billboards that don't. The ones that attract your attention would have a higher click-through rate. And so you want to be able to like put it in the right space, right? You know, you need to have that highway, depending on where the off-ramp is, right? If you're trying to get people, if you want to put it near the rich area, then you could advertise more expensive things, go down to the poor area. Advertising really expensive things in the poor area probably isn't a good idea. So where you put the ad counts, the hook, the creative, the visuals, that all counts for your click-through rate, okay? And those are all things that you can test independently, right? It's a really good thing to try and optimize for because it's going to give you more people, okay? The next thing is like the sort of conversion rate. So it's like from the people that go to the ad, like how many sort of click on, like end up doing the action. It's usually around 8% of that. So let's just say, you know, you're going to have, of those people, you're going to have, say, you know, a percentage go onto the landing page, then you might have like a percentage opt into the landing page. Landing page opt-ins are like 30, 40% a lot of the time. Obviously a lot lower in e-com, but that's a good, that 30% conversion rate is good. Like you have a solid one, okay? There can be a lot of reasons why your conversion rate can be lower. One of the main ones is like when you look at the landing page, it's just constructed ridiculously and like you have to scroll to actually like opt in and you want to make sure that it's optimized for all the right things, okay? So yeah, we've got that. Then we've got like cost per click. Okay, so that's like how much does it cost to get a click, right? Which is obviously going to be your click-through rate is going to be a huge determiner of that. Around 77 to $2, you know, for like traffic lead gen campaigns. E-com might be like 350. I got some friends that run some really like large e-com businesses and they're paying about the 350. Cost per lead on average over Meta for a lead cost is like $23. Right now, you're going to pay more for a landing page than what you will for a lead form, but there is an argument that's a higher quality lead because they've had to do a step and you've given them more context rather than sort of Meta pre-filling it out. So lead to contact, all right, which is kind of a big one, is like 20%. If you're speaking to 20% of your leads, I don't think you're doing that well. If you're at like 35, you're doing okay. 35 to 60 is good. 60 plus is outstanding. On Dialer, we have plenty of people in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, but I would say the average is sort of around that 40 to 50%, I would say is about the average of contact rate. That can go down or go up. Also, like depending on like if they've been calling the same leads for a year, you know, dude, they're just not that into you. Which you can also tell by the next one, which is like the unique dial rate. Unique dial rate is a metric that I don't know if we made it up, but we track it in Dialer. I've never seen it anywhere else. So it's like what percentage of the dials that you're doing are for individual or unique leads. If you're at like 33%, then that seems about perfect. That means like 70 odd percent of the dials that you do, you're dialing people more than once. Right? Now, if it's like higher than that, so if you get into like the 60s and 70s and 80s and the 90s, it means that essentially you're just not dialing enough for the lead flow that you have. So you're never really getting to people more than once. Now, if your pickup rate is 80%, then that's fine. But chances are it's going to be 10, 15, 20%, something like that if you're on a good system, or like 3, 4, 5 if you're on a shit one. Okay. And very soon it's going to be much lower than that, depending on when you're listening to this. This is in July 2nd of 2025. Hey guys, what's up? Matt here. And I've noticed that a lot of you are not subscribed. So what I want you to do is like go over and hit the little subscription. It really helps the channel out. And if you like the kind of content that I do and you're like, hey, how can I get similar content but pay for it? Then I have a membership. You can go over and join that at any stage that you want. It's like $49 a month up to about $200 a month. And we do like live Q&As. We have a coaching call nearly every single day. And there's like well over 100 videos and I upload like sort of private trainings and stuff that I do all the time. So if you want to check that out, go for it. You know, sign up through YouTube, cancel anytime, all that kind of good stuff. And anyway, back to the video. Bye. Okay, so unique dial rate is like if it's too low, like if you're at 10%, so like the average people are been dialed an awful lot. And that means that every dial that you do with somebody and every time that somebody picks up, like the remaining leads that are in there are statistically less likely to pick up, because if someone's been dialed 15 times, they're just not somebody who picks up unknown numbers. So you might want to try a different strategy, whether it's a branded caller ID, whether it's a text, an email campaign, or like retargeting campaign, get them to re-opt back in, whatever it may be. Dialing those people is not going to be a fantastic strategy. The stats that I can see are about 70% of all sets are done on the first dial, and about 93% of all the sets on dialer are done in the first 3 dials. So if you're dialing people 25 times, you're probably just wasting your time and just trying to be like that business owner. It's like, there's gold in them, their leads. It's like, there's probably not. Add click to landing page, which we have gone over before. But what this is really important is because like it's got to do with the sales copy. Like, what is the value proposition? How much pain are you drawing out? And how's the effectiveness of your CTA? And so that's going to determine those things. So if you've got like click-through rate, it's like, okay, headline, image, whatever it may be. Okay, then from there, it's like we're getting people on there. If they're clicking on to the next one, that means the copy is good. So if you're getting a good click-through rate, headline and image, fantastic. But if they're not clicking on to the next one, don't throw away the whole ad. Just get better copy on there and get a better CTA. And then from there, then it's like, okay, now are they then converting on the landing page? Okay. Does that make sense? Like, this is where you want to go. This is where you want to have a more like critical look at things. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You want to have a look at what stages are working and which ones aren't. Some of the fixes you can have, make sure your ad matches your page, right? Like, you know, I see a lot of really lazy options where people are just like replicating funnels and they're not really like matching it to like what they need to do. Okay, just make sure your CTA is good. Make sure that the page loads fast, right? So you don't have a high bounce rate. People are just kind of bouncing straight off. The speed of the page is nice and quick, less than 2 seconds. And then if you're, you know, using UTMs to track your leads, so you can see like what lead sources are converting at what rates and what landing pages. Okay, so you kind of want around a 30%, right? Seems to be about right at the moment. Some of the things that can really stuff it up in landing pages, like the big one is just like the overall, like, is the mobile design good? Because most people are coming through a mobile. And then like, is it easy to opt in? And is it clear? If it's like some convoluted thing, like people try and overword things a lot, like it has to be clear. Click this link to do this action, okay? Make it super, super clear. Make sure you don't have to scroll down. It's on the fold. This is a website. Everything here is less important than here. And all this stuff here and in the middle, right, is way more important than this stuff here. So if I have to go, oh, look at all this stuff and then go, to opt in here, it'll significantly reduce conversions. Like significantly. All right. People are dumb. There you go. All right. So lead to set 15 to 20% is healthy. Okay. So like in the case if you're a dialer.io client and you're speaking to say 50% of your leads and you're booking, say, you know, 50% of the people that you speak to, right? That would seem like it's a good one, right? Or you're booking 35% of the people you speak to, 40%, like you should be able to get a 20% lead to set pretty simply. Okay. If you're not getting that, then there are a couple of things that might be going on. One, you don't have any like SMS follow-ups. You're not making contact with them enough in the short period of time after they opt in. Your pickup rate is like less than 10%. Your unique dial rate's too high or too low. You're not rostered correctly if you are setting, okay? Like PST, EST, so like your speed to lead is really suffering because of that. Maybe you're not segmenting your leads properly to where like you're putting more effort and really prioritizing the newer leads, right? Speed to lead is everything. I can tell you probably one of the most successful people on our platform is the Elliott Group, and they have a 51% contact rate, and you know, what's their pickup rate? 15%. Okay, that's over the course of the last month. Okay, June to July. Right, $27,000. You can't see all that. 4,000 pickups, 15% pickup rate, 51% of the leads, and they have 1,600 sets from 4,000. So there you go. So it works, right? But their speed to lead is phenomenal. Okay, now Dialer kind of does that for you, but hey, you can figure it out too. Okay, spam flagging, dialing practices are poor, low lead quality. These are all things that can affect your set rate. Okay. Or calendar optimization as well. So like, you know, a lot of people will not really take this into account, but are you not available in good times, right? Are you selling to mums and you have calendar slots at 3 and 4 and 5 o'clock, right? And that's like when your closers are most available, which is like when mums are the most busy. It's ridiculous and stupid. You haven't thought this through. Why haven't you thought this through? And so you have to have times that are appropriate for the niche in which you're doing. Like they're not going to bend to you. You have to bend to them. You're asking them to buy shit off you. You have to bend to them. Like it's the way that it is. A mom who picks up her kids from school is not going to show up to a call at 3:30 in the afternoon, even even though she booked it because she thought that she could, but then she forgot that her mother-in-law was away that week and yada, 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 yada. Her kids are more important than you douche nozzle. There's that, okay? Cutoff times for when there are no-shows, okay? Make sure you have afternoon, evening, weekend slots available. You can shorten the time slots 30 or 45 minutes with bumpers instead of booking an hour, okay? Make sure that you have the adjustments for different time zones. Make sure that like your setters, if they're manually doing that, they are asking what time zone the person's in, right? Embed your calendar, okay? And then send it out to them. Like have it embedded inside of the landing page. Don't just like send them to a booking link calendar. So if they're going through an application and then going to the next one, like embed that instead of just having it as a standalone page, because then you'll be able to get more data. You can build more value and it will work better. For a show rate, you sort of want like around 65%. Okay, show rates are really, really important. 65% I think is a really good scalable metric. It can be hard to achieve, but there are a few things you could do. One, you want to check all your reminders. If you're really low, just nuke everything and then start over again from like just one automated reminder and then just build one by one, okay? Make sure that you send text, calendar invites. In 2020, at the end of 2023, Google Calendar changed to not automatically accept. They have to go into the actual email and then click accept. Otherwise, it's not going to go onto their calendar, which was a huge jump in no-shows and no-show and like reschedules because it wasn't in people's calendars. So you have to make sure that you have either wording or a video or an explanation, or the setters will walk people through that so that they're not just like lost and they forget that it was a thing. Also, don't book people too far out. It's a bad idea. Then from there, make sure your times are optimal. You can have a floating rep. Cole Gordon has a really cool system where they have like a floating rep because they use a software called Sales Kick, I believe, and it tells them when somebody enters a Zoom, when there's already a Zoom going on, and then from there a floating sales rep goes and gets them, and it works really, really well. Distinct no-show types, okay? So you got reschedules, cancellations, and true no-shows, okay? These are all different. If you're just tracking shows and no-shows, you're not doing enough. Reschedules are very different. Okay, a reschedule you can fix usually by like, for example, just not offering the reschedule. That will reduce it. Cancellations, a lot of the time they're due to like an online reputation. So Google yourself, go through the process of being a prospect and see if you have a really shitty online reputation, try to fix that. Outdo it with content, get some reputation management people in, okay, and try and fix that because they're going to cancel, because when you Google your name, you come up as a fucking scumbag. And then true no-shows, okay? No-shows are a really tricky one, like just real true no-shows, because like a lot of the time it's just because the person forgot. Like I think that's most of it from my experience. And so having really good confirmation sequences plays a huge role. Make sure that you like don't book people in that sort of you think have no intent of actually coming. Like you have to kind of force them onto the call. And then just make sure that like you're delivering content. One of the best ways to do, like, I think it's Jeremy Haynes is like the tornado strategy, where like in between, like before their call, they just get inundated with pure value content on Meta and all the different platforms. And it's a tornado. Okay. All right. The next one is like some sort of salesy stuff. Okay. So like set to close. This is how many people are going through to the closing call if you're setting. I like to have like a minimum target. Let's say you're doing a 2-call close and you have a setter team that's doing like the first call. This is not like outbound. Okay. This is like an inbound set, right? Like a 2-call close with a setter and closer team, right? You want to have like a minimum pass-through rate. The reason being is because otherwise it'll create a really shitty culture of people like demanding better and better and better, higher qualified calls, and it's going to create really toxic, and your CAC will just increase like exponentially, and you'll get more and more leads and the same amount of sales calls, and your close rate will go up and up and up and up and up, and the sales managers will pat themselves on the back and go, I'm fucking incredible, and the sales reps will be like, look at me, when in reality it's just the fact that you're now spending an enormous amount of money getting a fucking lay down lead onto a sales call, like you've optimized for close rate, which is the death of your business. Okay, so like there you go, right? I've seen that many times. I've had it happen to me, right? So yeah, I had some fucking average sales managers, despite me telling them they kept optimizing for close rate, and the CAC went like that. This is in a fucking sales organization. So there you go. Stupid people be doing stupid people things. All right. A close rate, anything like 30% is a good close rate. If you're averaging like 50, you have problems, right? The reason being is because like you have too good of a lead, right? So like your leads are just fucking exceptional, which means that chances are they're really expensive to get, because like if the average, that means that if it's 50, it means someone's doing 70, which is fucking wild, right? So if your average is 30, you might have like your Steph Curry doing 40% and everyone else doing 20, fine. If you're any higher than that, like you're too picky or too cheap. So like go up in price until like you're getting less clients and more money, and then like that's just higher profit, right? Now, if it's too low, then maybe it's too easy to get on a call. So you're just getting too many people who are unqualified. You're trying to artificially shorten your sales process, and it's just too difficult, right? And then differentiate it by lead source and by closer, just to make sure that like you're not trying to fix a problem that isn't there. You just have one terrible lead source or one terrible closer, okay? Average order value, which is like the average cash amount, I should say. It's more like the average cash per call. A great way to like sort of decrease close rate but increase money and do that the right way is just to like remove floors. I was asked to help a kind of a big coaching company recently, really well-known guy. And then I was asked to sort of come in and just help out a little bit. And all I really did was go like, I think that we should take away the 6pay. And it was like, sweet. And it was like the close rate didn't go down and the average cash per call went up by $400 across the board. $400 doesn't sound like a ton, but when you're talking about like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of sales, it's a significant amount of money for nothing extra, right? And it was just because we took away the 6pay and it was like, I'm a genius. Right? So you can either raise the ceiling or raise the floor. These are some things that you can do in order to, I think, maximize what you're doing, okay? Lead routing is like #1 thing that you can put into your business and ways to keep the best reps happy, okay? Lead routing is incredibly important. I like a waterfall system, which is like, think of like filling up buckets one at a time. Waterfall leads in, fill one bucket up, then that will spill over, fill the next bucket up, okay? That means that like your top bucket is your best guy. Like no one gets a call until that person's full. Okay, Steph Curry be getting all of the, if you could design an offense where Steph Curry took every single shot, you'd win a lot of basketball games. But it's very difficult to do that because there's only so much Steph Curry to go around. But you want to give him as many as possible when he's on the field, when he's on the court, okay? So it's the same with like leads and closers and all that kind of good stuff. So I like that bucketing strategy. You can either have a person or a software that does it, but really you fill one person up, then the next, then the next, then the next, then the next, even to the point where like you manually reassign. So like if your top closer has a call cancel and your number 3 closer has a call that's confirmed, then take that one from the one that's confirmed and swap those around, okay? That's a completely reasonable strategy that you should be doing to maximize the performance, the revenue, the output of your business, and also you will keep your top closer full at all times, which should be the goal of your sales manager. And if it's to fucking be fair, that's stupid, right? That person should be fired and fuck off. Okay. And then like a really good way is to track your closers based on ROI. The reason why I like this is like, oh yeah, if I put 10 grand worth of ad spend into you, I expect $100,000 back. If you can't give me that, then what's your value prop? The cool thing about this is that they can use things like referrals, follow-ups, paid in fulls in order to like boost their stats, which is nothing but good things. So all it does is reward the behavior that you want. Another good thing that you can do and put in is like a rep performance management system, or like something where you are getting them to do the things that you want them to do by incentivizing them, but also then having tiers for them to achieve, which gives them, that illusion of progression. Top closers like that, okay? It makes them feel good. If you've been there for 2 years killing it and then some new guy comes in and you're like the same rank, that doesn't feel good, okay? So putting something like that in place. I can do a more in-depth video on that if you guys comment down below, or comment down below if you want me to do more in-depth things on any of these. This is all like kind of a surface level mini masterclass, I should say, that I decided to put together on the fly about an hour ago. Okay. So the last one is segmenting where your leads come from. Like, know that different lead sources have different qualities. YouTube, awesome leads, really good a lot of the time, but like they come from all over the fucking shop. They come from every different country. You know what I mean? So like organic stuff is difficult, right? But if you're doing like, retargeting off the back end of videos, they're going to be really high intent leads. They've probably gone through a lot of long form, high trust, higher show rates, higher close rates, higher cash, yada, yada, yada. TikTok, lots of leads. They all suck. Right? But you can get shitloads, so that makes some people feel good. Like Instagram, link in bio, link tree, mixed bag, paid ads, totally depends on the ad itself. Website leads, usually really good. One of the more hilarious things that can happen to stupid business owners is where like they start getting sales from the website and they're like, let's ramp website traffic. And it's like, no, you moron. This is an ecosystem. And it's really just about like the best leads end up at the website after seeing a YouTube video and 3 ads and going through your Instagram. And then they just end up on your website and then they opt in there because like they're a really good, strong lead. And that's the journey that they took. Like that's what happens if you just start doing SEO and ramping up website traffic. It's not that the website is a magical lead generation tool. You fucking spastic. Okay. I've had that conversation on more than one occasion to business coaches who teach sales and marketing, which is a terrifying proposition. So make sure you have a diverse lead generation environment where you are capturing where the leads come from, and then you're able to have unique and bespoke sales processes designed to optimize for that particular lead source. That seems to be the way to make sense. For example, in TikTok, if it's got a shitty show rate, double book those and go from there. And before you fix anything, most people break more than they fix. Every single tweak you do adds a variable. Variables add uncertainty. To win, simplify, analyze metric by metric, fix one thing at a time, and keep human error to a minimum. That is how you do the successes. I hope that helped you. Bye.